Hey everybody, and welcome once again to Purple Thunder Wolf. My name is James Wolf, and today we are doing James Wolf's top 10 favorite songs of all time. In an effort to bring you guys increasing amounts of quality content here on Purple Thunder Wolf, I have decided to start a top 10 series of videos. That's right, we will be doing top 10 songs of all time for me. We will be doing top 10 movies, maybe TV shows, junk foods, snack pack related, of course. Um, just a whole bunch of different videos of top 10 things that I either like or dislike, or that I will compile with various other people who contribute to the channel, and we will come up with those and we will make these top 10 videos for you guys. Just one extra thing to put on the channel to give you guys a bit more variety of what you guys can expect to see here on Purple Thunder Wolf. So without too much further delay, let's get stuck in with number 10.
Number 10.
At number 10, we have Die for Metal by Manowar. So, for those of you who are not familiar with Manowar, they are what is known as a power metal band, and they do big, dramatic, hugely impactful heavy metal tunes. One of the things I like about this particular song, which I'm pretty sure is not one of their standard hits, Die for Metal is like a anthem. It's a loud, aggressive anthem detailing people's love and obsession and devotion to heavy metal music. This is exactly the sort of thing I like in a lot of my music, especially my favorite songs. It's very loud. It's perfect for people singing along and chanting along to the words. It's the sort of thing you play live in front of a stadium of thousands and thousands of people. Everybody singing together, everybody just screaming out the lyrics. It's not complicated, it's not deep and meaningful. Listen to the lyrics for yourself.
And the guy beside me gave me a beer.
There's no heavy thinking in this one. It's basically every metal stereotype you can imagine crammed into a song, but they're not ashamed of it. They're not mocking it or making fun of it. They're saying, these are our stereotypes. This is what we aspire to be. We want to be that stereotype. We want to not only be that stereotype, but take it to the next level and make it bigger and badder than it already is. I just love the unashamed pride they seem to take in the fact that, stereotype or not, this is heavy metal. This is how they want to be. This is how they want to live. And as always, the very question of dying for metal, putting your life on the line for something, proves that it's more than just a favorite kind of music. It's something that's very passionate to them, and that's what this song is. It's a giant chanting war cry for heavy metal fans everywhere. I believe it is a fantastic example of power metal, and why it makes my number 10 on my list.
Number 9.
At number 9, we have the classic rock and roll master, Chuck Berry, with his amazingly classic hit, Johnny Be Good. This one has been covered by just about everybody, everywhere since the dawn of time. I imagine this is one of the most covered songs of all time. I know it's not the most covered, but I've heard so many bands, and even just live performers, it's like a standard. If you want to entertain a crowd, you want to get people singing, you play Johnny Be Good. It's a rock and roll legend in its own right. It's what makes rock and roll, especially classic rock and roll, truly great. It's a basic story. The young man, he's like a guitar, a virtuoso almost, you would say. He's just playing his guitar, he's just doing his thing. And like for a lot of rock and a lot of metal fans, it's the aspiration that you too could one day be with your name up in lights. It's the idea of this guy who plays and just does his own thing, enjoys playing his guitar wherever he can, and that one day he may well be rich and famous for his craft. Chuck, as always, just gives the song so much character. His voice and the way he sings it gives it so much passion and so much just pure rock sensibility. I'm not even sure how else to put that. The guitar in this is great. The opening riff is iconic. I mean, it's an iconic riff. It's an iconic piece of guitar. I would be very surprised if many people didn't at least recognize this tune. This is one of the things I like. A lot of this list will probably be heavy metal style songs or rock and roll, or a blend of the two. I mean, This, of all the music I listen to, is probably the most tame kind of rock, but this is the sort of rock that built everything that came after it. It built other rock and roll, it helped build heavy metal. Chuck Berry and songs like Johnny Be Good helped forge all the music that came after it. Another reason why this is just a classic, brilliant piece of music.
Number 8.
That is how you do a song intro. That is how you kick off, for me, what is one of the most electrifying, inspiring songs I've ever heard. Number 8 is The Power by H-Blockx featuring Turbo B. Originally recorded by a group called Snap as more of a 90s disco club kind of track. Turbo B was the original rap artist on the original and returned for the sequel, the cover so to speak, with H-Blockx, who are a German rock and roll outfit. I'll be honest, I haven't heard too much about them before or since, but I particularly loved this cover. Covers for me are either really good or really bad, and this one was really, really good. They took what was a moderately good club beat, a little funky, and they just amped it up. They took the idea of the power and turned that into heavy metal power, the electric power, guitar, drums, bass, screaming vocals. They kept, I don't know if it was the original female vocalist for the chorus line, for the I've Got the Power part, but absolutely sounds pretty much the same to me, and definitely just drives that vocal, screaming those lyrics. This song for me is a song I use if I happen to be working out or if I'm going for a walk or a run. This song is a song I use to get fired up, to get energetic. The kind of big building and then the kind of crashing heavy metal sounds really make this a very dramatic, just powerful song. I mean, it says it all in the title. It's the power. It's the sheer electric power volume that heavy metal and rock and roll have being transferred into the lyrics itself. The actual power is coming through the song. It's describing the energy that it's putting out, which is kind of weird and metaphysical there, but this is, I really do. I mean, the original for me was not a song that I would ever listen to very often, but this took that, flipped it on its head a little bit, changed the styling of the song, kept the simple basics of the basic one-line chorus, the rap sections in between, and just turned it into a powerful anthem of energy. This is the sort of thing I could see wrestlers making their entrance to the ring to. Big, loud, dramatic, big explosive points that kind of builds and builds and then just hits. You heard the intro, you heard it for yourself. The whole song goes on like that, just big crashing noises. And so much fun and so energizing. Love it.
Number 7.
Number 7 on my list is The Wild Rover by the Dropkick Murphys. Yet another cover. This time, not a cover from a band in particular. The Wild Rover, I honestly have no idea who originally penned it. It's pretty much an Irish Celtic folk song classic. It's been around for a very long time, and as I was saying with Johnny Be Good earlier in this list, everybody sings The Wild Rover. If you have a band playing in a pub anywhere in Ireland, Scotland, even in the UK, they always play The Wild Rover. It's like a crowd favourite, it's like a public favourite. If you run out of songs to sing, it's one of those songs you throw on. It's the kind of song that people will spontaneously start singing in one of those old school traditional pubs. It's that kind of song that everybody knows the lyrics to, everybody knows the tune, and this particular version, once again, I like the original. I like hearing a Celtic traditional kind of version, a folk version, but as it's becoming apparent in this list for me, I like adding heavy metal elements to especially traditional elements. I like taking something uplifting and powerful that is very traditional, very classic, and then adding the energy and power of heavy metal and rock and roll on top of that and blending the two together. I've heard lots of people try this. They don't always get it right. Sometimes they simply add in noise to destroy what was already a really good song. This particular one by the Dropkick Murphys is perfect. And the Dropkick Murphys, you wouldn't necessarily say are rock or metal. They're kind of more of a punk band, like a Boston Irish punk kind of group. The little add of pace to this really doesn't take away from the song at all. They've still kept that kind of sing-along chanting feel. And you know, the song itself, The Wild Rover, is basically the story of a person who travels around, drinks, gets in all kinds of mischief, constantly being turned down. But the bar lady doesn't want to serve him, thinks he has no money. He has gold. He turns out he can pay for his drinks. He's been on adventures. Who knows where he got the money from? Probably illegitimately. Towards the end of the song, postulates whether one day he may or may not return home to his parents and settle down and stop his wild rover ways. But I think for most people, as in with the chorus of the song, it's very much a song where you either have lived that lifestyle and understand the motivations, or you almost wish you did. You wish you were this wild, windswept and interesting character who just takes off into the wind, goes on adventures, experiences the world as it is, and throws caution to the wind. The song is a wonderful piece of storytelling, and the Dropkick Murphys have just added a layer of energy and even more sing-along, you know, drunken sing-along in the pub kind of feel to it. Again, this is another sort of song. A lot of these songs I like tend to have this sing-along quality. If you can sit in a large group of people with a drink in a hand and sing and make merry and enjoy those moments with people, that is a great song for me. Music is great for you personal, for yourself, but if you can share that same feeling with other people and you know that you're all feeling exactly the same about the same song at the same time, the sense of community and the feeling of unity is such a powerful thing, and I love it. Love it.
Number 6.
At number 6, we have a song that, in all honesty, can do its own introduction. Was there any of you who didn't recognize that at all? Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple. Once again, what is considered by many fans of rock and roll and heavy metal to be a classic standard of a song. The kind of song you can play at any concert by any band who plays that sort of music, and it's bound to get a great reaction from the crowd. Deep Purple were one of many bands of that era of just legendary rock and roll metal acts. Whether or not they consider themselves metal is debatable, but they are definitely rock all the way through. I think, as many people have described, one of the truly great things about Deep Purple was the addition of John Lord and his organ playing, and in this song in particular, it's their classic hit, really. It of course just adds to what is already a great rock and roll song. Just that element of the wailing organs throughout really helps set a mood. The song Tale obviously is about a hotel in the Swiss Alps, near the Swiss Alps, where they were setting up for the Montreux Festival. It burned to the ground. There was a whole drama. The song tells you basically the story from start to finish. But that wailing of the organ helps show the kind of dramatic nature of what was happening, turns it into more than just a simple rock, here's what happened, here's the story. It gives the whole thing a kind of emotion and a power. And of course that guitar riff is one of the most recognizable in the world. For me personally, I won't be getting that out of my head for another week and a half, I would say. It's just the kind of thing that you can just do over and over and over. Having seen this live, I've seen a few of the ones in this list live, thankfully, but I've definitely seen this live a few times. Every time they play this, they get to the end of the song and just sit and just redo the same part of the song. Everyone sings Smoke on the Water, they do the grindy guitar riff, Smoke on the Water again and again and again. They added about another 4 minutes onto this song of everyone just singing the same part over and over and over, and nobody got tired of it. There's just something about the way they've crafted the music to this song, and like I said, particularly the guitar part, that just draws people to it. It's so iconic. It's an iconic song. It's like Stairway to Heaven. Stairway to Heaven is one of those kind of songs that people instantly recognize. They know it. They know the intro. They recognize what it is. It's the same with Smoke on the Water. Even if you don't know what it's called, you play the intro, people go, oh yeah, that song. I know that song. I know that thing. It's one of those classic rock tracks. And it's one of those great songs that you can just sit back and let it wash over you. Let the kind of vibes of the era wash over you. Let the organ, the guitar, the wailing lyrics just completely take you away. A fantastically great, awesome song. Everyone should have this one.
Number 5.
At number 5, we have Turn the Page by Metallica. Once again, another cover song. This time the original by Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. I like the original, but in all honesty, this song was number 1 for a really long time for a reason. Metallica have managed to keep the slow, grindy pace of the song, the kind of heavy, chugging kind of feel. But in place, they've added a kind of raw, gritty, dirty almost feel to the song. The video clip that accompanied it is slightly different theme to the actual song lyrics. The song is supposed to be about life on the road as a rock and roll kind of performer, and the ups and downs and the way your kind of mind goes through things. The film clip that went with Metallica's version was about the life of a single mother who was also an erotic dancer by night kind of thing. And again, a very gritty, bittersweet kind of film clip, but the very song itself lends itself to these themes because it feels so kind of, it feels like the song has come home from a hard day of work, is hot and sweaty and tired. That's what it feels like. But James Hetfield's lyrics, his vocals, just take you on such a ride. I mean, the guitar, like I said, the guitar chugging in the background, the kind of deep, kind of heavy kind of sounds really set the tone, but all throughout the song, the pace of the singing kind of goes up and down. It goes faster, a little bit slower. He kind of builds to a crescendo and then kind of stops. Sometimes there's a build to a crescendo and kind of keeps driving through into the solo section. Right down to some parts of the song where they're almost whispering and he's basically just mouthing lyrics into the microphone. The kind of roller coaster of the vocals over this really trudging kind of track is just so emotionally charged. The whole song just feels like it has personality. It has its own identity. It's not a track just for enjoying. It's not even whether the track is deep and meaningful, which I think it is, but it's a track you simply listen and let its personality, let its ideas just kind of wash over you and kind of draw you into it. It's a hard song. It's one of these sort of songs that I can't skip any way through the song. Other songs I'll listen to, and if I feel like I want to go on, I'll move on to another song, but this is the sort of song that once I start listening to it, I have to listen to the end. It kind of rolls along, and there's no point to jump off of the song. There's no point to go, okay, now I'll pause. Every part of the song makes you want to hear the next part of the song to see where it goes. Where does the lyrics go? Where's the vocal? Are we going up? Are we going down? And it's like a ride. It's a relatively long-ish kind of song. It's a bit longer than the standard 4 minutes, whatever. But it's a ride. It's a journey. You start the song and you take the journey with the song. And of course, the theme itself of Turn the Page, the next story in the chapter, the next chapter in the story, more to the point, the whole thing just fits. I remember watching the film clip a lot when this came out, so I always had a much deeper connection with this song because having watched that gritty, real-life kind of drama film clip with it over and over again helped me feel the emotions coming through even stronger. But this is particularly one great to listen to on a stereo, but even better to listen to with the headphones on to yourself and just really feel the kind of energy the song is putting out, this kind of sludgy, drudgy, moody kind of energy. A really great song by Metallica. Again, another cover in my list, but like I said, a really good cover is about understanding what makes a song great. And if you can capture that and keep what makes that song great and add to it and make it better, it sounds like the best song ever to me.
Number 4.
Number 4 on my list is a song called Nancy the Tavern Wench by what is possibly one of my favourite bands of all time, but we'll save that for another list. They're called Alestorm. If you don't know who Alestorm are, the simplest way to put it is they play pirate heavy metal music. Originally they called it Scottish pirate metal music. Most of the band members don't come from Scotland anymore. They've had a few lineup changes. Thankfully their lead singer, Christopher Bowes, still remains and still leading his merry crew along the way. To understand the song, you really have to understand the band a little bit first. Alestorm have been playing this kind of pirate metal since they started. It's, again, very stereotype. There's organs and kind of harmonica noise kind of in it, very traditional kind of pirate sounds with the very heavy, aggressive, full-on heavy metal sounds. The themes of the songs are all about drinking and wenches and getting drunk and falling down and robbing and looting and pillaging. And the band never really takes themselves seriously. They don't even really take the music seriously. When they're writing and creating it, they do spend a lot of time making it very authentic. It's a kind of pirate, even though it's pirate heavy metal, you almost could believe that pirates would have listened to this on their ships if they'd have had this back in the day. Even though that kind of makes no sense, obviously there was no metal or electric instruments back then, it feels exactly like what you would say. If you said, what would it sound like if pirates played rock and roll or heavy metal? This is what it would sound like. This is exactly what I always envisioned it would sound like, and the sort of thing that I always wanted. If you watch Pirates of the Caribbean and love that, and you like heavy metal at all, this is exactly the sort of thing you want to listen to. But the band, when they're performing and even when they're writing the lyrics to a certain degree, it's tongue-in-cheek. They know they're not pirates. They're not trying to be pirates. It's just a bit of fun. Piracy as a romanticized idea of these swashbuckling badasses who drink and get all the women and are kind of like cool criminals. It just adds to the kind of flavor of the songs. Now, of all the songs, Nancy the Tavern Wench is probably their slowest song. It's a very slow, rolling, swaying kind of track. And to me, it was designed and made for having a pint of ale in one hand, your arm around the guy next to you or girl next to you, and everyone just sways along to the music. Swinging their beer, having fun. It sounds exactly like the sort of thing you would find in a pirate tavern. The song is about Nancy. She owns a establishment full of cutthroats and thieves and terrible, terrible people. It basically describes the sort of place you would hear a song like this. You would hear it at a harbour bar with some buxom lady named Nancy at the helm, who's serving drinks to the pirates and the rapscallions and the ruffians, and they all sit and swing and sway together, drinking their beer, getting drunk, causing mayhem, having fights. Whenever they perform this live, it's always a great sing-along moment. As I've said before, if you can join in with other people and get the same feeling from a song and join in the chorus and sing to your heart's content, there's nothing better. There's no moment where you are more yourself than when you're just yelling out the track. Doesn't matter if you can't sing, doesn't matter if you have no vocal skills, you don't need to. Once again, there is no deep, meaningful thoughts behind this. It's a song about drinking in a tavern and having a lot of fun. One of my favorite tracks of all time, one of my favorite bands of all time. Pure, simple fun. That's what music and life should be.
Number 3.
Yes, at number 3, we have Cats in the Cradle by Ugly Kid Joe. It's a cover song. Yeah, I know. Probably at least half this list is a cover song of some description, maybe even more. I haven't counted them up. It's probably a little bit depressing. This one in particular holds several different kind of meanings for me personally. One, I think it's a really great track. It's a great cover. Once again, I like the original. I think Harry Chapin's original song was great. But I think what Ugly Kid Joe did here was not... They didn't do what they usually do. Ugly Kid Joe are a kind of grungy metal rock kind of group. And they do a kind of like... It's hard to describe. It's kind of like a kind of punk attitude, kind of a rock. Everything's a little bit kind of like the neighbor next door you want to hate kind of a person. Just grungy kind of people. And this song was quite a serious song for them, quite a departure from their normal lyrical style at the time anyway. And they really took it and just made a very kind of almost soulful kind of cover of the song, which is about watching your children grow up, watching the generations grow, not having time for the children, you know, the father always being at work a lot of the time, and then the child grows up and he has that same life where he now has to look after his family, and sometimes he doesn't have the time either. That whole dichotomy of wanting to be there for your family, but having to go away to be there for your family as well. And for me personally, this track was for a very long time my white whale. I heard a live group somewhere doing this song, so technically they were covering the original, but they said, when they announced it, they said they were covering it in the style of this band that I didn't know and I hadn't heard of. So I listened to it and I liked their way of singing it, and they did quite a good job. They sounded a lot like the Ugly Kid Joe version, the kind of pacing and the instruments. But I didn't get the name of it and I didn't think about it. In my head, I kind of played this song over and over for a long time. And back then there was no way of searching. There was almost no internet back then, I don't think. So I couldn't have looked up. I didn't know who the band was. I had no way of searching for this song. So for years and years, I didn't have this song, I didn't have this track, but I knew it was there and that I wanted it, with no other knowledge than what the original song was. Again, there was no way of searching this, there was no recording devices on your phones, there was no way of finding out unless you had heard it on the radio, and by this point it was already an old song. It had been released a few years prior, in the earlier 90s, and eventually, through happenstance, in a local library of all places, in a very small, terrible CD catalog section, they happened to have Ugly Kid Joe's America's Least Wanted album. As I was looking through, I flipped it over, and there said Cats in the Cradle. And I thought, oh, I wonder. Took it home, listened to it, and there it was. The track I had been searching for such a long time. Just sitting there in the most obscure of places. And ever since then, it has been a massive love affair. It's still one of my favorite songs of all time, up until the numbers 1 and 2 songs on my list came into my life. It was my number 1 song. There was no song better for me. It's still one of my very favorites of all time. It's such an emotional, great song. Not so much a song for singing and swaying like a lot of the others on this list, but just really well performed. The emotional level sits just where it needs to be and captures that relationship of family and father and son. And another favorite band of mine, a great track, a very personal track for me. And that's my number 3 pick, is Ugly Kid Joe and Cats in the Cradle.
Number 2.
Coming in at number 2, we have Talk Dirty to Me by Poison. Poison is one of my favorite bands of all time, and between the band and this particular track, it's just one of the most classic examples of 80s hair metal or glam rock or whatever you want to call it. The track has everything that you would ask for from that sort of genre. long, loud guitar solos for no reason whatsoever. Just constant noise and kind of party rock metal. Lyrics about sleeping with girls and talking dirty with girls. Nothing too intellectual in this one, but then a lot of the 80s hair metal wasn't intellectual music. It wasn't deep, soul-crushing stuff. It was about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It was about partying and getting the babes and having a lot of fun. And that's what this track is. It's fun. It's a fun track to throw on at a party or an event and just to kind of rock out to. Glam metal is a big part of my music catalogue and one of my favourite kinds of music to listen to, especially if you want to get in the party mood. And Poison were the band that helped introduce me to this whole genre of music, and in particular this was one of the tracks that really hooked into me, that made me love this type of music, and like I said, led to my love of some of my other favourite bands, Motley Crue and Def Leppard, Poison, Whitesnake, Warrant, a whole raft of other bands like that. So I owe this song and Poison a great deal of gratitude, but this particular song is just a great 80s hair metal rock song. I know it featured pretty heavily in one of the Guitar Hero titles and got a bit of a revival then, but I would think most people would probably recognise at least some of this track. They may not recognise who it's by or what the name is, but it's another song that I think a lot of people have become very familiar with over the years. Another very great, fantastic song. This is a song that knocked Cats in the Cradle off my number one spot at the time, and although it resides in number 2 now, still just one of my favourite songs. There's just no denying its simple, fun brilliance, really.
Number 1.
And finally, my number 1 song, drumroll please. Number 1, Whiskey in the Jar by Metallica. Yes, it's a cover song. Okay, so this one is a lot like the Wild Rover. It is a fairly traditional Irish song, popularized originally by Thin Lizzy. Honestly, I have no idea when, but I imagine it would have been the 70s, I think, 60s or 70s. Thin Lizzy version I quite like as well, but Metallica have taken the feel of that kind of Irish. It's a lot like the Wild Rover that was on this list. They've taken that Irish traditional music and sound, and they've just added some kind of heavy, rough rock and roll, heavy metal to it. I love the blending of those two elements, as I've said before. You take the uber traditional and the uber aggressive and modern, or relatively modern, and mesh them together, and kind of have this thing that has the storytelling and the passion and the kind of tradition, but fuses it with that raw, lifting, driving, like, thing that really just gets inside your head. That heavy metal has that quality of energizing you and just making you want to just power up. And it's the same reason a lot of people associate aggression and violence with heavy metal, is because it's very uplifting kind of music. It doesn't just make you feel good, it makes you feel powerful, it makes you feel charged up. And I love adding that element to songs like this. Whiskey in the Jar is a song about basically like a highwayman kind of guy. He sees a military captain, takes all his money, goes home to his missus, who unfortunately he realizes is a bit of a flake and betrays him ultimately. The captain comes back, and before he gets a chance to exact his revenge, our hero slash villain leaps up and shoots him with both barrels, so to speak. Excuse me. Ultimately, the song ends quite sadly with our hero protagonist in jail, contemplating the luxuries of life. It's a sad, bittersweet kind of tale, and for some reason you're always rooting for the anti-hero who you are kind of talking from the perspective of. The whole song, this particular cover, it does remind me of, riding through hills, the kind of hills and valleys of some of the highlands of Scotland or Ireland, and even just the language they use. They're using the similar kind of language style to the original song, but again, singing in a heavy metal song. This is just Whiskey in the Jar. Like I said, it took over what was already a really big song for me that epitomized an entire genre of music that I love. But this really just stands up. It blends all the things I like. It's just such an amazing track, and combines a lot of my favorite elements. It's not as much of a sing-along song as it could be. I think if it had that little more element, it would be almost perfect for me. But yeah, it's just a phenomenally great song. Lots of emotion, lots of storytelling, lots of great music, lots of guitar solo. I don't know what else you could ask for. So that's number 1, Whiskey in the Jar by Metallica. Well, that was my top 10 favorite songs of all time. Were you surprised? Not really? Hopefully you enjoyed that video. Hopefully you enjoyed hearing some of the things that make me tick a little bit. Hopefully we can do some more of these videos. Maybe we do with movies or food or various other things. Let me know in the comments. Go into one of the videos, any of my videos, put a comment. Did you like the video? Did you not like the video? If you guys aren't really into it, we won't make any more. If so, we'll keep making them and make as many as you want. If you have suggestions, put the suggestions down. Go to the Facebook page and put suggestions down. Above all, remember to like the videos, subscribe to the channel, and please, please, please watch all the videos. Get other people to watch the videos. The more views I get, the more ad revenue I create, the more I can spend time on the channel. You guys want more videos more often, you want more variety of content, maybe there's a type of video you want me to make. The more views I get, the more I am able to make those videos. Eventually I want to be running this channel 24/7. I want to be making videos all the time. I want it to become everything that I do. And I would love to grow this channel and make it bigger. So please, support the channel, watch all the videos, tell everyone you know. Send them the link, Purple Thunder Wolf. Tell them to go to YouTube, type in Purple Thunder Wolf, one word, find the channel and watch the videos. Give it a try. Everyone you know, not just people you really close to, friends and family, co-workers, anybody you meet. Oh, I have this friend who has this channel. I have this person I know who has this channel. Word of mouth. That's how it gets around. That's how you get YouTube viral videos. Don't forget the snack pack videos. And particularly, we have our special Halloween edition coming up soon. So hopefully you guys will all watch that, because I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be quite a party. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Cheers, guys.